The mystery of the lost vocabulary. A young detective uncovers hidden words in a mysterious mansion, teaching vocabulary along the way. Chapter 1. The Enigmatic Invitation. Alex Harper was not your typical teenager. While others spent their weekends hanging out at the mall or playing video games, Alex loved solving puzzles and unraveling mysteries. His fascination with words began when he was just a child, reading detective novels and imagining himself as the hero. Little did he know, his love for language would soon lead him to the most unusual adventure of his life. One rainy evening, as Alex was finishing up a book in his cozy room, a peculiar envelope slid under his door. The thick paper was an unusual shade of dark green, and the handwriting on the front was elegant yet strange. To Alex Harper, a true seeker of knowledge. He frowned, wondering who would send him a letter at this late hour. Opening it carefully, Alex found a single piece of parchment inside. On it was written, "A mystery awaits you, young detective." Within the walls of an ancient mansion, words are disappearing. Your task is to find them before they vanish forever. Only the bravest and most clever will succeed. Will you accept the challenge? There was no signature, only a symbol, an old key with intricate patterns etched into its handle. Alex's heart raced with excitement. He had read about mysterious disappearances before, but this was unlike any case he had ever encountered. Words vanishing? It sounded impossible, but Alex was no ordinary teenager. He loved challenges. He loved words. And now he was determined to take on this mystery. The letter continued. "Meet me at midnight at the mansion on Maple Street. Do not tell anyone of this invitation." Without a second thought, Alex grabbed his jacket, a flashlight, and his trusty notebook. He knew this would be an adventure he would never forget. As Alex walked through the dark streets toward the mansion, he thought about the words he had seen earlier. Words disappearing. How could that even happen? He had to start somewhere, and the mansion seemed like the perfect place. The mansion loomed ahead, its tall windows reflecting the moonlight. It looked abandoned, with ivy creeping up the stone walls. The wooden door was slightly ajar, and a strange chill ran down Alex's spine as he stepped inside. A voice echoed from the shadows, breaking the silence. "Ah, Alex, you've arrived." Alex spun around, but there was no one in sight. Just as he was about to call out, the air seemed to shimmer, and a figure appeared from the darkness. A tall man, dressed in a dark cloak, stepped into the light. He held a small glowing orb in his hand. "Who are you?" Alex asked, his voice steady despite the mystery unfolding before him. "My name is Professor Langley," the man replied with a smile. "And I am the Keeper of Words." "The Keeper of Words?" Alex repeated, confused. "What do you mean? And why are words disappearing?" Professor Langley's expression grew serious. "You see, Alex, the world is losing its vocabulary. Words are vanishing from existence, and with them the power of communication is fading. We have to find the lost words before they disappear forever." Alex felt a shiver run through him. "How can that even happen? How do you know this?" "The mansion holds many secrets, young detective," the professor said, his voice lowering. "And you are the only one who can solve the puzzle. Every word you find will bring us one step closer to saving language itself." Alex's mind was racing. Words disappearing was a problem he could understand. Without words, there would be no way to communicate, no way to share ideas or tell stories. But how could he possibly help find the missing words? The professor handed him a small leather-bound book. "This will guide you," he said. "It's a dictionary of sorts, but not like any you've seen before. It contains the basic words you'll need to start your journey. Learn them well." Alex opened the book and saw that the first page was filled with simple words. Apple, chair, book, run. These were easy words, ones he had known since he was a child. Professor Langley smiled. These words are important. They may seem simple, but every word has its power. As you explore the mansion, you will uncover more complex words. The journey will challenge your knowledge, but it will also help you grow. You'll learn new words along the way, and you'll understand their true meanings. Alex nodded, determined. He could do this. He would learn. And with every new word, he would get closer to solving the mystery. As the professor disappeared into the shadows, Alex took a deep breath. He was ready to begin. Chapter 2. The Whispering Walls. Alex took a deep breath as he stepped further into the mansion. The air felt thick with mystery, and every floorboard creaked under his weight, as if the house itself was watching him. As he walked down a long corridor, the walls seemed to close in around him. Strange, soft sounds filled the air, a series of whispers that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. At first, Alex thought he was imagining things, but as he stepped closer to the wall, the whispers grew clearer. They were words, but they were words he didn't recognize. They came in rapid bursts, like fragments of an old conversation. Eloquent. One whisper drifted from the left wall. Diligent. The wall on his right responded. Hasten. Another whisper echoed from farther ahead. Flee. Alex paused. What was this? Why were the walls whispering these strange words to him? And why were they so familiar, yet so distant? He felt an odd pull in his chest, urging him to investigate further. The whispers seemed to grow louder, as if calling him closer. There, on the wall in front of him, was a small inscription that read, "To find the words that have been lost, one must listen closely. The walls will guide you, but only if you solve their riddles." Riddles? Alex wasn't sure what that meant, but the thought of hidden words, words that had vanished from the world, kept him moving forward. He had to solve this mystery. He took out the little book that Professor Langley had given him. The pages were blank, except for the words that had already been written in. Alex could feel the weight of the challenge pressing on him, but he was ready. He could solve this. Suddenly, the walls grew silent. The only sound was the faint hum of the old mansion settling. Then a new whisper came, low and slow. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? A riddle. Alex's mind raced. He had heard riddles like this before, but this one felt different. It wasn't just a puzzle for fun, it was part of the mystery. The answer to this riddle might unlock something important. He thought for a moment. I speak without a mouth. That sounded like something that made a sound without actually having a voice. I hear without ears. He thought about all the things that could hear without really having ears. And then it hit him. An echo, Alex said aloud, his voice resonating through the corridor. The moment he said the word, the walls seemed to respond. The whispering picked up again, but this time the words were clearer and slower, as if rewarding him for solving the riddle. Echo, the walls whispered in unison like a chorus, eloquent. Diligent. Hasten, Alex's heart raced with excitement. The whispering walls were offering him clues, one by one. But what did these words mean, and how could they help him with the mystery of the missing vocabulary? He opened the book to the next page, searching for the words that had just been whispered. The book seemed to glow as he looked at the word echo. He had learned this word as a child, but now it felt deeper. It was more than just a simple sound reflected back. It represented something much more powerful. He made a note in his book. Echo. A sound that is reflected off a surface, often heard after the original sound is made. It can symbolize repetition or reflection, often used to emphasize an idea. Alex smiled. That was useful. He could already see how learning these words would help him understand the larger puzzle of the mansion. Just as he was about to move forward, another riddle echoed through the halls. I have keys but open no doors. I have space but no room. You can enter, but you can't go outside. What am I? Alex furrowed his brow, thinking. The walls waited in silence. He looked around him, searching for something that matched the riddle's description. And then, in the dim light of the hallway, he saw an old piano sitting in the corner. A piano, he said aloud. The answer seemed obvious now. The keys are the piano keys, and it has space between the keys, but no actual rooms. Piano, the walls whispered in approval. Diligent. Hasten. Once again, Alex opened his book, writing down the new word, piano, a musical instrument with a keyboard that produces sound when the keys are pressed. A piano has keys, but they don't open doors. It has space between the keys, but no physical rooms. The more Alex learned, the more connected he felt to the mansion. Every word was like a clue, guiding him to the next. He was beginning to see the power of vocabulary, not just as a collection of words, but as keys to understanding the world around him. Before Alex could continue, the whispering walls spoke once more. Diligent. Hasten. Alex turned his attention to the words diligent and hasten, eager to discover their meanings. He read through the book quickly, finding the definitions. Diligent, showing careful and persistent work or effort. Hasten, to hurry or make something happen more quickly. With these new words, Alex felt more prepared than ever to face the challenges ahead. The mansion was full of riddles, but each one taught him something new. As he ventured deeper into the mansion, he knew the walls would continue to whisper, guiding him through the mystery of the lost vocabulary. Chapter 3. The Puzzle of the Library. Alex stepped into the grand library, his eyes widening at the sight of towering bookshelves stretching far above him. The room smelled of old wood and parchment, and the flickering light from the chandelier cast long shadows across the polished floor. It felt like stepping into another world, one full of stories waiting to be told. But there was something different about this place, something mysterious. The library was vast, filled with countless books, but there was one that caught Alex's attention. It was an ancient leather-bound volume resting on a table in the center of the room. The book's cover was embossed with strange symbols, and as Alex approached, he felt an unexplainable pull toward it. He opened the book carefully, turning the yellowed pages. Inside, the text was written in a language that seemed both familiar and foreign, filled with strange words that he couldn't quite understand. Some of the pages were torn, leaving large gaps in the sentences. It was clear that this was no ordinary book. Alex's curiosity grew. This could be one of the lost books, he thought. If the walls had whispered words to him, perhaps this book held clues to even more missing vocabulary. He sat down at the table, opening the book to a page that was only half intact. A sentence stared up at him. "Thee of the mountain was a sight to behold, the sky as the sun dipped beneath the E." The words that were missing seemed to be essential to understanding the sentence, but without them, the meaning was lost. Alex knew that if he could fill in the blanks, he might discover something important. But how? The words seemed so strange. He flipped through the book, hoping to find some context. On the next page, the text was similarly incomplete, but there were a few words he recognized. To the treasure, Alex had to the maze, using his wits to find that would lead him to victory. Again, the missing words were crucial to understanding the sentence, but Alex had no idea what they were. He felt frustrated, but he remembered what he had learned so far. Each clue, each word, had been part of a puzzle that required him to think carefully. This was no different. Alex leaned back, thinking. The walls had whispered riddles to him, teaching him words in context. He could do the same here. He started with the first sentence. The of the mountain was a sight to behold, the sky as the sun dipped beneath the. He analysed the structure. The first blank was likely a noun, describing something related to the mountain. The second blank was probably an adjective, describing the sky. And the third blank, another noun, seemed to describe something that the sun was dipping beneath. He needed words that made sense in these contexts. The word view seemed to fit in the first blank. It made sense that the view of the mountain would be something worth beholding. The second blank could be glowed, describing how the sky looked as the sun set. The final blank could be horizon, since the horizon was where the sun would dip below. Alex smiled and wrote the words in the book, filling in the gaps. The view of the mountain was a sight to behold. The sky glowed as the sun dipped beneath the horizon. With those words in place, the sentence made perfect sense. Alex felt a rush of excitement. He had solved the first part of the puzzle, but there was more to do. Turning the page, he looked at the second incomplete sentence. To the treasure, Alex had to the maze, using his wits to find that would lead him to victory. This time, the context was clearer. The first blank was likely a verb, something that described Alex's action in relation to the treasure. The second blank needed a verb too, describing what Alex did with the maze. And the final blank, another noun, was something that would guide Alex to victory. After thinking for a moment, Alex wrote, "To claim the treasure, Alex had to navigate the maze, using his wits to find the key that would lead him to victory." The sentence now read smoothly, and the missing words had helped bring the story to life. But as Alex wrote, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to this book. The words were teaching him not just vocabulary, but also how to understand the deeper meaning of language. This book wasn't just about filling in gaps, it was about making connections. He moved on to the next page, excited to uncover more secrets. But as he turned the page, something strange happened. The words on the next page were completely faded, as if someone had erased them. Only a faint outline remained, like the ghost of a word. The page was a mystery in itself. Alex leaned closer, examining the page carefully. The outline seemed familiar. As he focused, he realized that the shape of the letters was similar to one of the words he had already learned. It was as if the book was testing him, challenging him to remember. He paused and looked at the words he had already uncovered. View, glowed, horizon, claim, navigate, and key. Could this missing word be related to one of these? Alex thought for a moment. Could the missing word be map? The word map fit the context of the maze, the treasure, and the key. A map could guide someone through a maze and lead them to treasure. He wrote the word map in the blank space on the page. Suddenly, the book seemed to come alive. The faded letters began to reappear, and the missing words were restored. The page now read clearly. To claim the treasure, Alex had to navigate the maze, using his wits to find the key and the map that would lead him to victory. Alex felt a surge of satisfaction. Not only had he solved the puzzle, but he had also discovered a powerful lesson about vocabulary. Each word wasn't just a separate piece of information. It was a tool that helped him unlock new meanings, connect ideas, and understand the world around him. The more words Alex learned, the more the mansion seemed to come alive. Each riddle, each puzzle, was a way to bring these forgotten words back into the light. As he closed the book, he realized that he wasn't just solving puzzles anymore. He was learning how to think in a new way, how to use words to unlock stories, ideas, and adventures. With his book in hand, Alex moved on, ready for the next challenge. The mansion still held many secrets, and he knew that the journey was just beginning. Chapter 4. The Riddle of the Portraits. Alex had ventured down many winding corridors in the mansion, but none quite like this one. The hallway stretched endlessly, its walls adorned with dozens of old, gilded portraits. Each painting depicted a person, some of whom Alex had never seen before. The faces stared out from their frames, their eyes following his every move, almost as if they were alive. As Alex approached the first portrait, he felt a strange chill run down his spine. The painting was of an elderly man, his hair white and his face wrinkled with age. But it wasn't just the man's appearance that was unusual. There was something in his eyes, something that seemed to be beckoning Alex forward. Curious, Alex stepped closer, reading the plaque beneath the painting. "He who listens well shall hear the truth, for the answer lies within the words themselves." That's cryptic, Alex muttered to himself, but something in the plaque's wording seemed familiar. He had read something like it before. Listening well. Was this another clue? As Alex pondered, the eyes of the portrait seemed to glimmer, and before he could react, the old man's voice echoed in his mind. "I am what you hold in your hands, yet I am not yours to keep. What am I?" The voice faded as quickly as it came, but the riddle was clear. Alex paused, thinking deeply. What you hold in your hands. Could it be a secret? Or maybe something more tangible, like a key? He pondered the words and looked around, scanning the hallway for more clues. Then, it hit him. A word. When you speak, you hold the power of language in your hands, but the words don't belong to you. They belong to everyone. He nodded to himself. The answer must be a word. Suddenly, the old man's face in the portrait shifted, smiling knowingly. The frame glowed and a new plaque appeared beneath it. A word can be held, but it never stays yours for long. Alex smiled. He had solved the first riddle, but as he moved to the next portrait, he couldn't help but wonder what other riddles awaited him. Each portrait seemed to hide a new challenge, a new piece of the puzzle he was trying to solve. The next portrait was of a young woman, her eyes full of curiosity and mischief. The plaque beneath her read, "A piece of advice is often wrapped in a coat of humour. But beware, for it may slip from your grasp if you don't listen closely." The woman's lips curled into a slight smile, and once again, Alex felt the pull of her gaze. This time, he didn't have to wait long. Her voice echoed in his mind, light and playful. "I am a place where everything seems to go wrong, but only because you don't know how to handle me. What am I?" Alex rubbed his chin thoughtfully. A place where things go wrong. It sounded like a pickle. The expression in a pickle meant to be in a difficult or tricky situation. Is it a pickle? Alex asked aloud, more to himself than to the painting. The woman's eyes sparkled and her lips stretched into a grin. A new plaque appeared beneath her portrait reading, "To be in a pickle means to be stuck in a tricky situation. Sometimes the solution is easier than you think." "Got it," Alex said, feeling a sense of pride. He was starting to understand the game the mansion was playing. The riddles weren't just tests of knowledge, they were teaching him new words, idioms, and expressions. Moving down the hallway, Alex approached the next portrait. A stately gentleman in a suit, standing tall and proud. The plaque beneath him was simple, yet intriguing. "My words have been passed down for generations, but you must decipher their true meaning." Without warning, the gentleman spoke. "I am something that's always there, yet you can't see me. I'm what keeps you grounded and focused." What am I? Alex thought for a moment. Something that's always there, keeps you grounded and focused. It had to be common sense, an idiom for practical judgment or rational thinking. "Common sense," Alex said, his voice steady. A soft glow surrounded the gentleman's portrait, and the plaque updated, reading, "Common sense is the foundation on which wisdom is built. Never ignore it, for it will guide you in the right direction." The riddles and portraits were becoming easier to solve, but Alex was growing more and more excited. Each answer unlocked something new, both in the mansion and in his understanding of language. He had never realized how many idioms, expressions, and sayings existed, each carrying a wealth of meaning and history. As Alex continued down the hallway, he came upon the final portrait, a beautiful, serene woman in flowing robes, her hands delicately folded in her lap. The plaque read, "I speak in whispers, yet my words echo across time. To understand me, you must look beyond the obvious." The woman's voice was soft, almost like a breeze. "I am something you can't touch, but I can make you feel. When I am present, you can do anything. What am I?" Alex's mind raced. Something intangible, yet powerful. Confidence came to mind, an invisible force that could help someone accomplish anything. "Confidence," he said, his voice quiet but sure. The woman's portrait shimmered, and the plaque beneath it changed once more. "Confidence is the key to unlocking your full potential. With it, there is no limit to what you can achieve." Alex took a step back, marveling at the hallway of portraits. Each one had revealed a forgotten idiom or expression, teaching him new vocabulary and showing him the power of language. It wasn't just about knowing individual words. It was about understanding the deeper meanings, the nuances, and the wisdom that words carried with them. "This isn't the end. See you in the next chapter."